Hey everybody, this is some new lighting in my new studio. I wanted to do this test things. I might be changing the look a little bit over time, but this is the next chapter series in my Idaho 4 book series from James Patterson. I'll put that up on the screen in just a moment, but I just wanted to test the lighting to see how this looks on camera, on a recording, see what you think about that. Let me go ahead and put the book up on screen now. You should know the drill by now. We are covering the Idaho 4 book by James Patterson and Vicky Ward. Now, here's the thing. We read through the prologue, chapters 1, 2, and 3 of a prologue, and now we're actually into the actual first part of the book. Now, there are people out there like Landon from Truth and Transparency, and I can't remember, there was another individual at least. There's been several who have read the entire book already. Like it came out just like last week. And I'm going to be reading it slow and low. That's the tempo. Let it go. Let yourself go. I don't know. That's a line from the Beastie Boys from back in my day. Anyways, I digress. The point being is that I do go a little slow. I don't know if I got that right. Anyways, Beastie Boys were a thing back when I was growing up. Anyways, the point being is that we're going to get in now to the chapter of the Idaho 4. And again, I go through it slow because I think I catch things other people don't catch. Hence, I'm going to show you what I've caught today in my discussion about the differences between Howard Blum's depiction of what happened with Maddie and Kaylee and their going separate ways when they went to Idaho versus James Patterson, Vicky Ward, and their description of what happened when the girls went their separate ways. So let's pay attention to that. All right. So we're going to jump right here into, we go past the prologue. We go to chapter 1. Oh, no, we're going to go to right here. The Innocents, because I want to riff on this right now. The Innocents. Right off the bat, this is what bothers me, and I have to be careful because I don't want to come off sounding like a misogynist, because I swear to God, I'm not a misogynist, and I shouldn't have to say that. But the point being is that this idea that everyone who was a victim were innocent little lambs who were just, innocent is the picture that we want to keep. And we want to do the chapter, part 1 is all the innocents, which suggests that the victims were 100% innocent. Now, here's the funny thing with the word innocent. Innocent suggests to me that yes, in this crime, they may have been innocent and didn't have it coming. However, there are stories to be told. There are versions of alternative theories in which these people are not so innocent, meaning they may have done things to instigate people's anger towards them. And so therefore, would they be innocent? That's the question. So again, just titling this chapter, this whole section, part 1, The Innocents, suggests that they had nothing to do with their own undoing. And let me make sure you are 100% clear. I'm not trying to victim blame. I'm not trying to victim shame. We're trying to understand the heart of this story. And one way to understand the heart of the story is not to sugarcoat everything and make up a narrative. And that is what mainstream media is doing. They're completely innocent. The monster is a monster. Everything has to be black and white. And that's the way this story goes down in the media. There's the innocent types and there's the monster. And that's just it. But the world that I live in is gray, many shades of gray. So let's get into whether or not they're really innocent or not. All right, chapter 1. This is from 2019. Again, the murder is 2022, right? Is the murders. So just from September, and then the 23, 24 and a half. So we're into 25. Okay, so 22 November 19th. Gosh, I shouldn't be riffing this off the top. And you know what? I forgot. I was going to check some stuff out for Greek. Forgive my ignorance. It's so funny. As a biblical scholar, that I have done a ton of biblical scholars, you would think I would know Greek like the back of my hand. Anyways, the Greek life, I'm going to mispronounce some of the Greek row kind of stuff, so apologize for that. And it's an irony. But anyways, something is going to go over your head because believe me. Anyways, not saying that you're dumb, just like there's a whole backstory about that. Anyways, I'm digressing a lot. Chapter 1. Kaylee Gonzalez and Maddie Mogan chose the University of Idaho precisely because of its strong Greek life. Now, I want to stop for a moment and just have you contemplate something. Just a moment. These girls are party girls. Party girls. They pick the university and they pick the place they want to live because they are popular, cute, pretty girls, and they want to be the life of the party. Now, while that isn't inherently wrong per se, let's just keep in mind one thing. And again, this is where I get nervous about the misogyny accusations I feel like I'm going to get right now. When girls are trying to be the life of the party, they create drama around them, right? Boys get jealous. Boys that are dating you and think that, hey, I thought we were a thing, but you're sampling 5 other guys and flirting with 5 other guys at the party. That kind of stuff can cause people to have mixed emotions. And so while there may be nothing wrong with a young female trying to explore her options and see what she likes and figuring out what kind of guys she likes, it may not have gone over well with a longtime boyfriend of 5 or 6 years, like a Jack DeCour, for example, and Kaylee. So when they come to the university and Jack has known her from high school and they're high school sweethearts and they've known each other for a very long time, dated for 5 or 6 years. Now they come to the university life, Greek life, and Kaylee wants to be the life of the party. She wants to party. She wants to be the life. She wants to go out and spread her wings, meet other boys. That can create drama. And I'm not saying that doesn't make one innocent. That's not what I'm saying. But let's be careful and not sugarcoat the idea that party girls are inviting drama as it is. And there's all kinds of alternative, I feel like I'm going on a really, really long rant about this. There's all kinds of alternative theories about Greek life and Greek fights and things that were going on. There's a talk here about the sororities turning into mean girls. It is a cat house type of environment where the girls are fighting with each other, they're competing with each other, they turn against each other, and that creates also hatred and animosity and enemies. So this entire Greek system creates enemies. It also creates jealousy. Keep that in mind. Greek life creates jealousy, infighting amongst girls, and jealousy among boys who think that they should have this pretty girl and that pretty girl. So again, and by the way, Brian Koberger is not in the Greek life. So just keep all of those things in mind. These are alternative things to keep in mind. And yes, I'm ranting for a freaking long time before even getting to this chapter, but I'm just trying to set up to you things that are in my mind about Greek life and this whole you're just innocent but yet you're party girls. Now, Kaylee and Maddie's top choice is Alpha Phi, A-Phi as it's known, pronounced A-Phi. As one of the members described the sorority, it's a place for, get this is how the people who go there describe A-Phi. It is a place for blondes, homecoming queens, popular girls, leaders, girls who like to party and get ready to party. Well, again, let's not keep in mind, pretty girls who like to party and flirt and have a great time are going to create drama from other girls who are jealous that they're getting more attention than them, or other boys who are jealous because they thought that they had a thing, and here you are partying and you got this new guy this day. That kind of environment, wanting to be the blonde homecoming queen, popular girl, and life of the party. Let's get ready to party. And girls came here to pick party environment. That is going to create drama. All right. So again, I'm beating a dead horse. Both girls knew that Greek life isn't just about parties, but they knew it was a major part. And that's what these girls had their minds set on partying when they came to Idaho. And why not? Idaho is known for partying. WSU is known for Greek life and partying. Partnering? Why am I slaughtering that word? Partying. I know, I went to school there. I've said it before. When I went to school in Pullman, Washington, it had more beer cans per capita than any city in the United States. It was not in the United States, in Washington State. Maybe not the United States, but certainly in Washington State. It was a huge party place, and Greek life was the center of all that beer drinking. It is a party environment, and people who want to go party all the time are going to be around drugs, they're going to be around massive amounts of alcohol, and they're going to be the center of drama. All right. So both girls, okay, so Maddie wants a career in marketing, Kaylee in IT. Her father, Steve Gonzalez, is an IT guy. Kaylee wants to go into IT. I, by the way, was in IT. Does that make me related to the Gonzalez? No, I mean, do I have any? I'm just mentioning for shits and giggles. I'm an IT guy myself, spent 15 years in IT. Anyways, Kaylee and Maddie drove to campus together and spent a few days rushing together. So they're basically trying to get into sororities. They're going during rush week. They're trying to basically put themselves out there, meet people, and see if they can get accepted into a sorority. Maddie has been entering Kaylee's house, by the way. So Maddie's been entering Kaylee's house without knocking, just like she's part of Kaylee's noisy, happy, hectic, vast family since they were both 12 years old. So when you want to see why Steve Gonzalez seems to act like Maddie is one of his own daughters, it's because she basically is one of their own daughters. They go everywhere together. Maddie comes and goes from the house, all of those things. She is just like a daughter to the Gonzalez family. That is the depiction I think I've got, no matter who's writing the book. Now, Maddie is more of a girly girl. Maddie is more of a girly girl than Kaylee, who used to be a bit of a tomboy. Kaylee is more of an extrovert than Maddie, and maybe more of a hustler. Kaylee is a hustler. Let's keep that in mind. Again, somebody who's a hustler is going to be at the center of drama, in my opinion. So just and again, I'm not trying to victim shame. What I'm trying to tell you is there's alternate suspects And there's stories out there that Kaylee was the target. What kind of things did Kaylee do and say that would have potentially made her a target? You can bury your head in the sand all you want and say, oh my God, you sick bastard. Quit making it about the girls and about the victims. They're innocents. Didn't the fucking chapter from James Patterson tell you they're innocent? Yes, they told me you're innocent. But I'm going to keep an open mind about who they angered and who they made mad, because again, who they were at with the corner club and all the things around Greek life is all part of this story. And you can bury your head in the sand, or you can just listen and maybe think, hey, she had a lot of enemies. Maybe we'll see. Now, she had to get to what, Maddie was more, sorry, Maddie and Kaylee is more of an extrovert than Maddie, and maybe more of a hustler. She had to be to get what she wants, given the size of the Gonsalves family household. Kaylee has 4 siblings. Maddie is an only child, and her home, by contrast, is quiet. So Kaylee has got a very busy household. She's had to be an expert and fight for what she wants. Now, Maddie recently heard that UI sororities like to separate girls who know each other well. Apparently, the point of Greek life is to make new friends, not cling to your old ones. Here in the auditorium, Maddie waits to learn if Afi will choose Kaylee over her. This is a big, big moment and a huge contrast from Howard Blum's When the Night Comes Falling. And I'm going to show you that by jumping over to that book in just a second. Let me finish this, though, right here. So here's the depiction. This, James Patterson, Vicky Ward, depict the girls separating when they get to Idaho into separate sororities as something they didn't want to do. They wanted to be together. They wanted to stay together. They were forced to separate. Unlike Howard Blum, who will tell you the girls decided that they wanted to separate when they got to college so that they would spread their wings. Those two stories are not the same. Those two. So Howard Blum, these girls wanted to spread their wings and separate. Maybe there was a division suggested between Maddie and Kaylee. Maybe things weren't as great as it used to be. They were always Maddie Kaylee before, or Kaylee Maddie, or whatever you want to say. They were always a hyphenated word. They were an inseparable thing until they got to college, in which Kaylee decided, or both of them decided, that maybe that friendship needed to separate a little bit. Maybe they needed to go their separate ways. And that was how Howard Blum spun it, that the two girls decided mutually that they wanted to go separate ways. This book's going to make it clear they did not want to go separate ways, and it broke Kaylee's heart. Let's watch. Maddie and Kaylee tear open their envelopes to see which sorority, if any, they get into. There are screams all around, women sobbing, running. Maddie's eyes blur with tears. She didn't make Afi, and Kaylee did. The slip of paper in Maddie's envelope tells her she's been picked by, pi beta phi, or phi, known as pi phi. See, I told you. Oh, pi phi. So pi beta phi, or pi phi. There you go. They helped with the pronunciation guide. Thank God. I can't believe I slaughtered this shit. Anyways, a perfectly respectable sorority, but not generally considered a top house on campus. So let's back this up. So Maddie and Kaylee, they tear open their envelopes, and they don't have a choice. They have been picked for 2 different places. He tells you at the beginning of this that the sororities like to separate best friends. So Howard Blum, let's take a look how this goes over here. Howard Blum. Something unpredictable happened. He talks before about how they're inseparable, Howard Blum, and When the Night Comes Falling. And then he says, but then something unpredictable happened. Maddie pledged to Pi Beta Phi, and against all expectations, Kaylee joined Alpha Phi. Both were party houses, and both attracted the type of young women to an outsider's admiring eye, seemed impressively poised and confident. So why had Kaylee Maddie finally decided to put a pause in their hyphenated existence? The answer might very well be lay in the critical mindset of sorority members who were doing the choosing. The girls might not have received offers to join the same sorority, but many people came to believe that the decision was, at its core, the girls' own doing. They had come to college eager to spread their wings, and the only way to soar, they had decided, was to fly off on their own. For the first time in 3 years at the university, while they remained best friends, they also enjoyed new independent lives. Okay, so while Howard Blum will tell you maybe they were forced to separate in the middle of this paragraph, he said clearly, how did he word it? Many people came to believe the decision was at its core the girls' doing. They had come to college to spread their wings, and the only way to soar is that they decided to fly off on their own. That's Howard Blum's. They chose. The girls chose. It was time to separate the friendship. Here we see the girls in tears because they didn't get to the same sorority together. They got separated, and it wasn't their choice. So which narrative do you want to pick? And it's a lesson in narrative, people. This is a lesson in narrative. Whoever wants to tell the story, they will have an end end goal, and whatever end goal they want to get to, whether the girls decided to separate or whether they were forced to separate, is a choice by the author to get to the end goal. Narrative shaping is what this is all about. This is narrative shaping 101. And I can't tell you which version of the story is correct. Howard Blum says the girls wanted to separate and go their separate ways because it's the only way that they can really soar. And Patterson and Vicky Ward now tell us that they were forced to do it and they didn't want to, and it brought tears of separation between the girls. So you pick which one you want to believe. It's narrative shaping either way you go. But for Maddie and Kaylee, it's an ending and it's a beginning. And then we go on. Of course, Kaylee knows how disappointed Maddie is, and she hurts because Maddie is hurting. Kaylee knows how disappointed Maddie is. They wanted to stay together, according to these authors, and it hurts because Maddie is hurting. She hurts because Maddie is hurting. Showing wisdom beyond their years, the friends accept the idea that widening their respective social circles will be good for both of them. In other words, they'll play the game of Greek life. So again, one book says they decided the only way they're going to be able to grow is to separate. And another book says they didn't want to separate, but they reluctantly agreed that they had no choice because they were forced to go into different sororities. At the end of the day, does it matter? I don't know. Maddie's posts on they talk a lot about Instagram and about how Maddie uses Instagram a lot, and that's a part of the narrative shaping as well, because apparently Brian Kohberger, they say not apparently, allegedly Brian Kohberger stalked Maddie on Instagram. This is a narrative shaping again that they say over and over again. There's no real evidence that Brian Kohberger did that. In fact, the only account that they say shows that Brian Kohberger might have liked some of Maddie's pictures was an account that they said on Dateline NBC. There's no way to that we cannot verify that this account was ever owned by Brian Kohberger. Can't verify it, and it was deleted shortly after. So we don't know. But they're gonna go ahead and put that in small script at the top. We're not sure this was Brian Kohberger's thing to say that. One, this book's going to tell you over and over again, Maddie's big on Instagram, and Brian Kohberger stalked her on Instagram. Again, let's remember, in the court documents, it was revealed by the prosecution. No, there is no stalking here. Brian Kohberger did not know the girls, and he was not stalking them. And we will admit to you on the stand, no, there is no stalking in this case. But they still want to paint this narrative. She likes Instagram. Brian Kohberger liked Instagram. That's how he stalked her. Okay, I beat that to death. Maddie's posts reflect her new friendship with sorority sisters Sophia Whitehead, who is in the year above her, and Ashlyn Couch, who, like her, is from Coeur d'Alene. Ashlyn Couch will sign the lease with the 1122 King Road residence, and then later will not actually live there. She'll decide to stay with her sorority sisters. But Ashlyn Couch comes in here as somebody that Maddie knows as she's getting into this sorority. She likes Sophia Whitehead. She likes Ashlyn Couch. And Ashlyn Couch is from Coeur d'Alene, like the rest of the girls, like Maddie, like Kaylee, like Zana. Well, Xana's from Post Falls, but hung out in Coeur d'Alene, and Jack DeCoeur. Hope you're following. You probably are. Most of you know a lot about this story, maybe more than I do, and sometimes. All right, Kaylee's posts show weekend activities, attending U of I at football games on campus, traveling to Seattle, where her AFI sorority sisters and then nuzzling her boyfriend, Jack DeCoeur. So Kaylee is doing all kinds of stuff with her sorority and going to Seattle fairly often and hanging out with Jack DeCoeur, her boyfriend, high school boyfriend. But she wants to party. She wants to spread her wings. This is not going to go well with Jack DeCoeur, I believe. And I hope that this book will cover this in detail. We'll see. And they don't post is pictures with each other. What they don't post is pictures with each other. The two girls have separated. Again, not by their choice, according to one author, or because they chose to separate, according to another author. The two keep up this illusion of separateness well into next semester, when the balloon of unreality surrounding them is abruptly pierced. In March 2020, COVID strikes. And then we're going to continue with, I think, 2 more chapters, and then we'll be done with this for today. March 2020 now in Rathdrum, Idaho. At the end of spring break, Kaylee and Maddie both receive emails containing the same instructions. Don't come back to the sorority house. School is going remote. This is because of COVID. The girls are home in Rathdrum and the neighboring town of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and for them, it's like old times. So the girls are hanging out back in Coeur d'Alene. Things are great. Few people in the Gonzalez family, by the way, this is kind of an interesting insight into the Gonzalez family and mindset as narrative shaped by Vicky Ward and James Patterson. Few people in the Gonzalez family think that COVID is a big deal, that UI administrators believe it, that they believe it is. So they don't think it's a big deal. The UI thinks it is. The Gonzalez children have been raised not to trust government or institutions. They are libertarians. They live to bet on themselves. Okay, this tells us a little bit, maybe, about Steve Gonzalez's attitude and his whole family. We're not gonna trust the government. The federal government wants to come in. The FBI wants to come in and tell us, relax, Steve and Christy and Olivia, and relax, everybody. We will get to the bottom of this. You just sit tight. We'll tell you what happened to Kaylee. And they're not that way. They don't trust government. So, and yet, at the end of the day, I think Steve Gonzalez gets himself a confidential informant inside the government and trusts that person, built a relationship with somebody. So while he doesn't touch government as a whole, and that's obvious by everything Steve Gonzalez says, he may have trusted somebody in government. Just get that out of the way. Kaylee's dad, Steve, works in IT at the hospital in Coeur d'Alene, an hour and a half north of Moscow. Over dinners at home, he tells his family that the only people who are dying in the hospital are those who have pre-existing conditions. Mostly they're obese. He thinks the university is making a mistake by not letting the kids back. So again, I am not going to rehash fucking 2020 again, and the whole fight over whether or not COVID is a real thing, and whether it's been overbloated, and whether people are really dying or they're not dying, or whether it's just the flu that's been recategorized. I'm not going to get into that again, although I just kind of did. Holy shit, COVID screwed up society so bad, and it impacted me in the same way that it impacted them, but I'm going to try not to make it political. So anyways, paying to take college classes over Zoom is bad enough, but bills keep coming in from AFI. So Kaylee is getting bills from AFI even about the house that she's going to stay in, the sorority that she's staying in. This is not 1122 King Residence at this point. This is not the house off of Greek Row. This is basically part of Greek society, Greek campus, and she's getting bills for staying at a Greek sorority when she's not there because of COVID. She's staying home. She's taking classes. So she's livid that she and her AFI sisters are paying live-in dues for the house that they're not allowed to occupy. Following orders unquestioningly is not a Gonzalez thing to do. No shit. Really? No shit. That could be why, like, every single person in every single family pretty much has been silent for 2.5 years, and Steve Gonzalez is on every TV show there ever is in America, and sometimes Christy with him, and why that family will talk, because that family doesn't believe in just following orders. And that shows. And it's okay at the end of the day. But it has caused some problems in this case. Kaylee doesn't want to do the physical distancing or the regular testing or the mandatory quarantine procedures, not any of it. But she's Kaylee, so she faces the reset head on, posting, "Now let's get back to it." So again, Kaylee is resistant. She doesn't like it, but she puts her best game face and goes for it. Same kind of thing I would argue happened when the girls got separated when they came to the U of I. She didn't want to be separated from her friend, but it got forced on them, and so they just accepted it, which is a big difference between saying the girls decided that they wanted to spread their wings and separate, which I don't think is probably the more likely. I think this book actually probably has it more accurate. Who cares at the end of the year? Like devil's advocates, who the fuck cares? Why are you making a big deal about it? I don't know. My mind tells me it's going to come up later. We'll see. I haven't read this book yet, but my mind tells me it's going to come up later. All right. Kaylee takes a liking to two of the freshmen, Emma Tiger, a beautiful brunette from Vancouver, Washington, whose soccer career was sidelined by an injury, and Jaden Anderson, a blonde from Spokane. One of the most important rituals among sorority sisters is choosing bigs and littles. A big mentors her chosen little through college, academically and socially. Emma and Jaden are eager to become Kaylee's littles, partly because of her extraordinary enthusiasm and can-do attitude. So Kaylee takes on a couple of littles. Is this going to come up later? I have a feeling it might. We'll see. On Big Little Night in October, Kaylee surprises the two by waiting for them shrouded in pink wrapping paper in the parking lot by a large off-campus apartment building known as the Whites. When the two freshmen find Kaylee and unwrap her, their screams of delight echo several blocks away. At this point, the two younger girls are still caught up in the excitement and the honor of being accepted into AFI. They don't yet know about the pressure that comes with being in the pretty girl house. Darker times are just around the corner. There you effing go. I'm telling you. Dark, and I had to read one more chapter. I was going to end right there, about a half hour, right? I was going to end right there. Then I'm like, darker times? Okay. I know the Greek life's got some darker times. The innocence may come a little bit more clear when we get to the darker times. So I've read one more chapter. We're going to read one more chapter. Unfortunately, they don't get to the darker times. That's coming a little bit later. It's like a teaser. It's like whetting the appetite. It'll come. Don't worry about it. Here we go. Let's get one more chapter in. September 2020, chapter 4. So, moving forward, the Greek row. We're on Greek row. Zana isn't much used to rules. She grew up in Post Falls, Idaho, pretty much without her mother, Kara, who had been battling drug addiction much of her life and gave up custody of Zana and her sister, Jasmine, in 2006. And again, alternate theories revolve around Xana Kernodle and the drugs and turning in somebody maybe and testifying against somebody for a lesser sentence, which may have angered somebody, which may have caused somebody to decide they can't reach out to Kara, so they'll take care of retribution by killing her kid instead. And that is one of the theories that are out there, and it's a pretty damn good one. So let's hope that the book touches a little bit on it. Will they? I doubt it. Most of these books have decided Brian Kohberger is the killer, and they're not going to go very far down the alternate thing, but at least they're laying the groundwork for you to look at. There's a drug element here. There's a Greek row element here. Most of you who've been following this case have found yourself on one of these favorite pet theories that it probably was a Greek thing. It was probably a drug thing. It was probably an ex-boyfriend thing. Oh, nope, apparently it was an incel who can't have pretty girls and decided therefore he had to kill 4 people. That made more sense at the end of the day than all these other things that there are plenty of really good basis for. Now, along with her best friend, Emily Allant, on the most recent documentary, quite a bit on Amazon Prime, written by or produced by James Patterson in part, who wrote this book. Emily Allant was featured there, I believe. She's a pretty feisty blonde from Boise and a fellow New Pi Phi sorority girl. Zana regularly busts out of the house at night and on the weekends, even though they're both told to stay inside and stay sober. These girls don't follow the rules. Now, again, you have pretty girls not following the rules and wanting to be party girls and wanting to do a lot of things. They're getting into mischief. And again, that doesn't mean you're not innocent, but it also means that you're at the heart of drama, I would argue, at the heart of drama. All right. At AFI, I have a worse deal than you do, Kaylee tells Maddie, who is sympathetic. Under the stress of COVID restrictions, Kaylee explains the bitchiness for which the house is infamous is coming to the fore. AFI is turning into a nightmare version of Mean Girls. Pay attention. What you have is a sorority full of girls who is considered the primo Greek sorority to be at. It's the one where all the prettiest girls belong to. It's the one that everybody wants to be at. Kaylee's part of it, but she's starting to realize this is like it's an episode of Mean Girls. Everybody knew it was a little bitchy in that place. Everyone knew that the AFI came with a bitchiness about it, but it's becoming like a nightmare version of AFI, which means things are bad in the sorority. There is anger, there is hatred, there is jealousy, there is things afoot. So, did somebody come to hate Kaylee? Did somebody in sorority life come to hate Kaylee? And again, you can all be like, dude, you're just looking for excuses. Yeah, because it still makes more sense. There are other things that make more sense than the narrative that they're painting that went down. Other than, of course, you have a confession from somebody. So that does put a trump card on things, I'll promise you. I mean, saying, yeah, I did it, it's hard to argue with that. And yet, there are many reasons why to believe that Brian Kohberger could have admitted guilt for reasons other than actually being guilty or being fully guilty. There may have been, what if Brian Kohberger, in some kind of imaginary scenario, knew somebody in Greek life and was involved in it, or knew the ex-boyfriend of Kaylee and got involved in it, or knew somebody in the drug community and got involved? Brian Kohberger could be peripherally involved in half a dozen different scenarios around this and still be involved, and that would make you happy that he's still involved. Or it could be nothing at all, and these other things are just being overlooked because law enforcement locked in on one guy very early on. All right. I know that I'm going off on side tangents, and I hope you can handle that from time to time. That's what I do. All right. I hear you, says Maddie. We didn't sign up for this. They began to discuss their options for living off campus. Kaylee finds an apartment in the Whites. Maddie got her eye on a house right next to it, 1122 King Road residence. There you go. This is the house they will eventually decide to move off of Greek Row, out of the sororities, into 1122 King Road residence, because the sorority life and the Greek life is becoming a bit of a nightmare version of Mean Girls. Meaning, people hate each other. Keep in mind, if it's a nightmare version of Mean Girls, there's people who hate each other and are shitty to each other in that system. Did that anger spill over into the house at 1122 King Road residence? All right. And that's it. That's enough. That's 29 minutes. It's a good half hour. We're not going to get into chapter 5 yet. There's chapter 5. We'll just go ahead and hang that up. In fact, we'll get off that screen so you don't get tempted to read ahead. So I appreciate you staying with me. I'm sorry that I did a lot of ranting today. I felt like I did a lot of ranting. Hope the lighting is a little better. I don't know that you will know the difference between the front lighting that I had before, which put big rings on my glasses and shit when I wore glasses, and this more side, softer lighting. Hopefully it's okay for you. Hopefully if you're like, I didn't even notice a difference, and that's okay. It's a difference to me. So anyways, I have to tell you, it is Monday night when I'm recording this. I'm going to publish it, I think, tomorrow morning, or Wednesday morning. I'm not sure. But tomorrow I have a live at noon, and then I'm going to be packing up and I'm going to be heading to Boise, Idaho to attend Brian Koberger's sentencing trial in Boise, Idaho on Wednesday. It's an all-day affair. I will be tweeting from that event, if you will. Tweeting, I'm using that word lightly. I'm actually going to be on my Discord channel. I'm going to have a special channel in Discord on my server for I don't know what I'll call it, something like Boise updates or sentencing hearing updates or whatever. And I will give constant updates as I'm in line all night long with nothing else to do. For you late nighters, please keep me company. And anyways, by the time you watch this video, you'll be watching it maybe months after it happened, maybe even years after it happened, and you won't get a chance to have been there talking to me while I'm in line for sentencing, which is coming up. So anyways, wish me luck at sentencing. Thank you for watching the book. I know that many of you are still getting around. To just reading my Howard Blum review and enjoying it. And you're telling me, oh my God, I'm so glad I found this series. And I've been done with that for months now. And people are still finding it interesting. So let's hope this book also will bring you joy for many years to come. Thank you very much. Bye.